The weather is changing and so are our gardens. Here to share tips on keeping your flowers blooming and plants green is Miles Arnott, Vice President of Horticulture and Conservation at Brookgreen Gardens. Thanks for coming all the way down.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love the selection that you've brought for us, and these are plants that we typically tend to see during the late spring, summer months.
That's
is that
correct.
Right?
That's right.
So what is the trick to keeping your plants healthy and alive and flourishing when the weather gets so hot?
Watering obviously is going to be key, right? But probably the most important thing you can do with watering is make sure that you do it in the morning. That gives the plants a recharge of water early in the day. They take it up, they're hydrated throughout the day, and then you do that again the next morning. You want to make sure that you don't water at night, because that can lead to pest problems, particularly fungal problems in the soil and on the leaves. Because if the leaves are wet overnight where it's cool and damp, that tends to get some problems.
That's a good point, because we do tend to see a lot of mushrooms popping up in our gardens, and especially when the rain starts to come, and it's usually at night. Now, as we move from left to right, our left to right, I just want to go over some of these plants. Now, I assume that a lot of these require a lot of sun as well. Are these full sun plants?
Some of them are, but not all of them. I brought a real selection, so we can kind of, depending on what our viewers, needs are, we can.
Fabulous. I love the leaves. I love this because it's a great filler for gardens.
Yes.
It's got color to it as well. So maybe you could tell us a bit more about
Sure.
this.
So I brought a selection of coleus here today. Coleus are wonderful plants. They grow in a variety of situations. They can take, full shade to full sun, depending on how well you water them. And a little bit of variety within each variety. But they're an incredibly diverse group of plants as far as the leaves go. Like you said, they're a great filler plant. And this year, Hurricane Ian came through Florida. It wiped out the caladium industry, which is around Lake Placid. They got flooded, so caladiums are going to be really difficult to find this year. So if you find yourself, if you're lucky, you'll find some caladiums, but they're going to be double or triple the price.
All right, that's interesting to know.
But this is a great replacement for those coleus.
And of course, I love everything that's flowering here.
Sure.
These are beautiful. It reminds me of lavender.
Yes.
They are lavender colored, but they're called something else.
That's right. These are Veronica, and these will bloom all summer long. Wonderful pollinator plant. Butterflies adore it. The name of this particular variety is Lavender Lightsaber. Interestingly enough,
I like that.
This is a native plant. This is Spigelia, and it's a hummingbird magnet. You can tell by the red tubular flowers. That's the kind of giveaway. Wonderful thing about native plants is they provide ecosystem services for our birds and our pollinators. So really important to include some of those.
Speaking of tubular flowers, it's just made for the hummingbird.
Yes.
These I find to be so beautiful, incredibly unique, because they've got all these little offshoots. It looks like 5 flowers on one stem.
Yes, and they are spectacular. Those are columbines, and each of these little spurs that you see here, there are nectar. There's nectar at the end there. So butterflies and hummingbirds will come in and dip their proboscis in there and get their nectar, and in turn pollinate the plant. So really a wonderful summer plant.
That's lovely. Yep. And ground cover as well. Let's not forget the ground cover, because that's something that's great to see grow. You don't need quite as many of those flowers, because they do tend to flourish quite well.
That's right. A lot of those ground covers are also good for hanging baskets. What you're holding there is a verbena, and verbenas are, they come in all different colors, from purples to reds to pinks to this beautiful white, just a staple in the summer southern garden.
Yes.
Also our begonias, these pink begonias that I brought as well. At Brookgreen, we grow those under the oak trees with lots of organic matter, and make sure that they're watered, and sometimes they'll actually overwinter if our winters aren't too bad here.
No kidding.
So I wouldn't really call them a perennial. They're kind of a bedding plant, but they will come back, which has been wonderful.
And before we get into the plant sale that Brookgreen's going to be having shortly, what is this big daddy right here?
Yeah, so that is canna lily. That specific variety is called bronze scarlet. Bronze refers to the sort of dark bronzy colored leaves, and scarlet, of course, refers to the flowers. And that plant will bloom all summer long, well into fall. All you have to do is keep it deadheaded. It gets these spiky little fruits on, and as those appear, you can just cut them off. It'll send a new flower shoot up. It will be floriferous all the way through the end of October.
And you don't see the petals drying out or getting hit by the sun too hard?
Nope. Full sun, lots of water. Terrific hummingbird plant. As a matter of fact, when I went to gather my plants up for our segment today, there was a hummingbird on that very plant.
Well, we promise that you'll send it back,
I am
and
going to send it
flower back. So real quick, when is the Brookgreen plant sale happening?
The Brookgreen plant sale happens on April 29th. It opens at 9:30 a.m. and goes until 2 p.m. That same weekend, we're having an art show as well. So we have 80 vendors coming with all sorts of botanical art, things like that. So it's going to be a great weekend.
And plan ahead, because the cars, they file into Brookgreen and it gets real packed, but it's a wonderful place to be, one of my favorite places on this planet. Thank you so much, Miles, for joining us.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Beautiful selection here. Go planting, everyone. We'll be right back.